episode of Progress, Potential, and Possibilities, discussions with fascinating people designing a better tomorrow for all of us. I'm your host, Ira Pastor.
Welcome everybody again to another episode of our show with another really fascinating guest involved in creating a better tomorrow. As a little background to today's show, as folks that listen and watch the show know, I'm sitting here in downtown Philadelphia, sort of the eastern part of Philadelphia. And a couple miles in that direction, across the Delaware River, is the city of Camden, New Jersey, which has a population of about 73,000, located in sort of what's considered in southern New Jersey. Going back about 100 years, beginning in the early 1900s, the city of Camden was a really prosperous industrial city, and it remained so throughout the Great Depression into World War II. Into the 1950s, however, like many major cities, manufacturers gradually closed up factories, moved out of the city, manufacturing jobs were lost, and population declined. There was also a major interstate highway system that went through that ultimately led to the continued role of suburbanization. That led to more flight out of the city. And the typical processes of civil unrest, crime became rather prevalent in Camden. And Camden is unfortunately routinely ranked as one of the more, the poorest cities in the United States. Its unemployment and poverty levels are more than double the national average. However, there are some bright signs. I mean, the Camden, we do get over there. Camden Waterfront is a beautiful place, holds tourist attractions like the Adventure Aquarium and the BB&T Pavilion. USS New Jersey is parked over there. On the academic front, the city is home to Rutgers University, the Camden campus, Cooper Medical School of Rowan University, the Cooper University Hospital, and Virtual Our Lady of Lourdes Medical Center. On the industrial side, it still has the headquarters of the Campbell Soup Company, L3 Communications, Subaru, headquarters of America is there. So there's a lot still going on, and I'm really excited because today we have the opportunity to be joined by Jennifer Hughes, who is a candidate for the mayor of Camden, New Jersey in the upcoming 2021 election, and she's running as an independent. Jennifer has a background in education in cell and molecular biology, exercise science, social media management, communications, marketing, and business management. She currently works in the area of home renovations within Camden. And she has this really, fascinating, diverse background and very innovative, future-looking interests, in addition to her knowledge of social system design studies, that gives her a really unique perspective. And it's going to be very interesting talking to her about her vision for the future of the city, improvement, and ultimately her campaign. So, Jennifer Hughes, welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, it's great having you. It's very exciting, recently learning about your run. I'd love to start off like we typically do, just by handing you the floor for a little while to talk about yourself. Take us a little bit, before this whole politics story, take us into the story of Jennifer Hughes, where you were born, where you grew up, how you developed these really broad interests. Take us a little bit on that journey, if you would.
I was actually born, I was born in New Jersey, but I did do a lot of traveling. My parents were missionaries for their religion, and they took me all around, probably to about 30 different states that they had been traveling to, where the need was great there and things. So I had a lot of exposure to a lot of, at least the states here in New Jersey. In the United States, and not just New Jersey. And a lot of exposure, even though it was quite limited because it was coming from, one perspective of going around trying to change people's religions and things like that. But I did get to meet a lot of diverse peoples that way, and have the experience of living in different places with a lot of different cultures and dynamics. And I didn't stay with the religion that I was born and raised into. It wasn't something that resonated with me. But I did still have this experience of being able to talk to people and go up to people and all kinds of different people. I think maybe that came from that background. And then eventually we came back to New Jersey and kind of settled here. And I got into a lot of different things. I have an interest in a lot of different things. But my biggest interest was definitely always in regard to life extension and helping to get rid of these sicknesses and diseases that we face and extend our life, hopefully indefinitely. I think it would be wonderful to get to a point where we're able to choose the lifespan, that we wish. So a lot of my time got spent on trying to read and study as much as I could in regards to human biology, to try to figure out, what we can do to end this suffering and death that people face. And so I did have the ability to read a lot and comprehend a lot at a very young age. I could, for the most part, speed read. I know with speed reading, it's not always 100% comprehension of every single word that you read, but I did have a very good comprehension and retention rate at a very young age. So I could read college books by about the time I was three to five really. By five, that was college level books was pretty much mostly what I was reading. And I just kind of lived in the library a lot, and so that was helpful because I was able to consume information on the topics that I was interested in. So then I went to school for a variety of different things. I went for cell and molecular biology, as we had talked about, which probably was my favorite studies, and the biological studies. Obviously in those programs you're exposed to other genetics and physics and other different sciences too. I had originally wanted to be an oncologist. Cancer was one of the things that I wanted to work on most. So I had started alongside going that path. And so I did have independent studies and different things in regards to oncological sciences. Sorry. Then I actually just through where I had been working and just some different things that had happened in regards to persons that had worked in research in oncology or in the oncology field, and people that had passed away from it and things like that, I actually wound up changing over to rehabilitation. And so I started to go for exercise sciences, and then I was actually in a combination program for a doctor of physical therapy, which had nothing to do with me wanting to end cancer or anything like that. I got of the mindset of where I wasn't really sure if I went into that field, if I would be able to pursue the type of thing that I wanted to pursue in it. And so I wasn't very interested in administering chemotherapy and radiations and things like that. And then so the other field is research, and I guess, just I kind of was concerned that the research that I would be doing if I did go that route was going to be more along the lines of more chemo and radiation and things like that. And so, I had such a wonderful experience at the rehabilitative center that I worked at, and they really gave just so much room to grow there, that's why I started pursuing the doctor of physical therapy, because there's so many things that are addressed under the rehabilitative umbrella too, that people are suffering from, it's quite a bit. So I was there working for about 15 years altogether. I started out doing front desk, and I, went to school for marketing also, and massage therapy, and then I went for more and more massage therapy, and I got rehabilitative massage therapy, and going that route and working on just every kind of thing that you could think of. That center is wonderful. They really care about their patients and making them have the least invasive treatment possible, and everything. So that was a really good experience. And I started the Doctor of Physical Therapy program. It was combined. It was a bachelor's Doctor of Physical Therapy combination program. And so I had started that, and then I wound up having cancer myself. And so because I got so sick from that, I wasn't able to keep up with the program. It was a very rigorous program. And so I had to stop that program and apply the things that I had been studying all of these years to myself. And so that was a very extensive process. I've had some interviews and articles done on that, because I chose to go a less traditional route than most persons do. And I also I had caught it very early. And so, I did have some time to work with the cancerous tissue, that other persons may not feel that they had that option, to do it that way. But I actually used highly concentrated cannabis oil. We had to leave the state and go to another state and live there to get treatment, because it wasn't even legal in our state. And I had been to about 40 different doctors and about 5 hospitals in 3 states and 2 countries before I was actually even properly diagnosed. So the extent of the time that went on is also kind of what led to such a situation, because I couldn't get the right answer from anyone. And then, so after that, I had, it was in my endometrial lining, and I also had some other areas going on from all the extensive, prolonged I was going around to everyone, that I had ovarian cysts that were popping. I had endometrial lining. The cancerous tissue was in the endometrial lining, and they wanted to. A lot of people, I got told everything from, to have full hysterectomies, to that I was going to die no matter what I did, all of this kind of stuff. And still these people were telling me this, and they still couldn't even diagnose what was wrong, which was something. But so, I did we did go to Denver, where this treatment is pretty well integrated into the state and into their healthcare system. And also legal, to do there. So we went there, and I did treatment for 3 months. And I got all my tests back after that, and I had literally no unhealthy tissue anywhere. It wasn't just the cancerous tissue that was gone; the cysts were gone. Surgeon and doctor couldn't believe it, because 3 months before I'm riddled with stuff, and I come back and, you know, it's all perfectly healthy tissue. So so that was good. And during that experience, I was able to find out, you know, much more information about this type of medicine too, and how many things it helps. So while it's unfortunate that I had to stop the program that I was in, the experience that I gained from going through this has been very helpful in what I'm trying to achieve when it comes to treating people's illnesses as non-toxically and at least invasively, you know, as we can. So, that and besides that, for about the last decade, I've been volunteering for the Venus Project, which is a organization that is entirely revolved around social change, and social engineering, city planning, community planning, and handling all of the issues, you know, that we're facing, from, you know, making sure that people have healthcare and housing, to making sure that that housing is disaster resistant, you know, and just having our cities be as smart, you know, as we can possibly have them be, and also as green as we can possibly have them be, and things like that. So, and my husband also, he's actually volunteered for them longer than me. He volunteered for them for about 2 years before I even started, and I met him there. So we both, on our free time, the small amount of free time that we have, we spend that on social design and you know, city planning and things like that, and just trying to apply scientific problem solving to the issues that we face, instead of, you know, maybe just opinions and things like that that have things so chaotic sometimes. So and then we actually came down here, I think about down to Camden, meaning probably going to about 4 years that we lived here now. I've been coming down, especially probably off and on since 2010, just coming down and seeing things, checking an eye. I've always had an interest, you know, in Camden. And then, like I said, about 4 years ago, we were able to finally, you know, move our businesses and move our living to here. And we were even going back and forth between here and Monmouth County for a while, because we had a business there, so which is about an hour and a half away. You know, and we were going back and forth between a business there and business here. We finally decided just to focus everything here, and we've been working on home renovations, like you mentioned, you know, for ourselves with different things, and for other people, and yeah, so we actually, I was asked, a friend of ours asked, you know, I guess after listening to me and my husband talk about social planning and all these things so much, that he finally just, you know, asked me, why don't you run? You know, and at first, you know, because I'm an activist and advocate, you know, I've worked with political consulting and political reform in the past, and so, you know, at first I thought about it, and you know, I was like, well, politics, you know, the same maybe reaction that any activist would have, but you know, then I really started to think about what he was saying, and I started to look into, you know, the feasibility of it here, and we, you know, talked about it. You obviously have to speak about it with your spouse, because it's, you know, a whole campaigning, and it takes a lot of time, and you have to have someone very supportive. You know? But so we did decide to try it, and we did try to decide to try independent, instead of running with one of the bigger parties here. And which, as far as I've been researching, I don't think there have been any other independent candidates in Camden at all, at least not in the last, I researched like the last 6 elections and a little bit back, but that's already like 24 years back.
Okay.
You know, so and there haven't been any Republicans or independents. There's usually they just run Democratic here. So there is a bigger amount of candidates running this election than typically. Typically, I think it's been about 3 candidates in the last elections, and this one has about 5. But what usually has happened in the last elections is that whoever wins the Democratic primary becomes the mayor.
Okay.
Because there's no one at the general to even run against the Democratic nominee. So once they're selected, that's it. So we thought for a number of reasons that it might be better to just try independent, you know, and then more so I would be against one nominee instead of, you know, all of those nominees, not against, you know, against, but you know, and just to try to do something a little different. I know when you run with the bigger parties that there is more money behind it, and you know, things like that. But we really wanted to try to come in independently and be able to come in with our own values of what we want to put in, you know, to apply here in order to upgrade the city and upgrade the quality of life for everyone here. And if you're running independent, you have a little more flexibility in, you know, being able to really put out your own platform in regards to that kind of thing. So, yeah, that's the story.
No, it's a great story. You've been through a lot, and I definitely see how all these components have sort of molded you into these interests. And you know, I'd like to go into actually a little later. We'll go into some of the sort of the daily stuff that you're doing. You can talk about the campaigning and all that, because I know you're, you know, actively out there on the street.
Personally out on the street doing all of the signature collecting and introducing myself.
Exactly. I guess one of the places I'd like to start off, because, you know, we love to talk about innovation and forward-looking stuff. You know, I just as a side thing, a couple of decades ago, actually, in a very early career, I used to hang out in the city of Akron, Ohio, which was very big in sort of the rubber industry back in the 50s and 60s and all that. It went away. And then this city was sort of dead for a long time, and they reinvented themselves. They figured, you know what, a lot of interesting chemicals come out of rubber, so we're not going to make tires anymore. We'll reinvent the city, and they became this really interesting sort of chemical city now. You know, you don't hear much about Akron, Ohio, but that's what they do. And, you know, thinking about Camden, a lot of people now, I'm just going to throw some things out here. Obviously, the first condensed soups, Campbell's soup, it's still there. That was over 100 years ago. You had the electron. Me too. You have the electron microscope perfected at RCA over there on the river. Not there anymore, but it was perfected there. You have the Coriell Institute now, which is a major stem cell operation. So you do have stuff going on, and a major part of your plan, or a major part, you have a lot of parts of your plan, but one thing I really find fascinating, something that you term the Center for Scientific Solutions. And if I could just read a little bit from your website, in collaboration with partners from around the world, we will test and advance solutions for improving our current social systems and introducing new technological solutions. Center for Scientific Solutions will create an evolving social blueprint upon which we will work on all feasible and beneficial scientific solutions on the issue our city faces, while developing technologies that expand outwardly around the globe. I love that. You know, it's all about, you know, taking something that was vibrant, it went down, but now you can bring it back. Technology, innovation. Talk a little bit about your vision for the Center for Scientific Solutions and what you hope to do there, because I think it's a major crux of what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's what you said about being able to bring the city back up. One thing that is really nice about what's going on in Camden already is they're already doing a lot of things, like as you had mentioned, we have Rutgers University here, Rowan University here, Cooper Medical, all the joint health collaborations that they've been doing. We have a lot of STEM and LEAP programs for the kids, and they're just built a huge science and technology high school. It's probably one of the biggest ones that I've ever seen, right over in Parkside, which is wonderful. And really just expanding on all of what they've already started to do here, and taking these scientific method and applying it to the way that we operate the city. So the Center for Scientific Solutions would be working together with the administration of Camden to put that into place. So when I say applying the scientific method to the city or to the issues we face, what I mean is the Center for Scientific Solutions would basically be the kind of cornerstone of problem solving. So we would be looking at each of the problems that the city is facing. So there's a variety of things that we need to fix here. We have housing issues, we have food insecurity, we have so many things that we can solve, and the Center for Scientific Solutions will be able to take the people here that are already working on it, and then take people from around the world that are interested, around the nation and around the world, that are interested in coming in and helping work on those solutions too. So for all of the issues that we face here, we want to work with the people that are already here, and working on it and doing that, and then build up what is already going on, and improve and upgrade all of the systems. So we're not interested in just doing a couple of things for the people that are here. We're interested in fixing all of the issues. And there's really no point to government other than serving the needs of the people that they were elected to, represent. I think sometimes people get confused about the position sometimes of what the position really is, and it's a position of public service. So being in charge of a city would not put you above anybody else. In fact, it puts you beneath everybody else, because every single person in that city is your boss. You know what I mean? You are there to better the quality of life of every single person, from the person that's got the most money in the city to the person that is still unfortunately sleeping on the street. If that person their quality of life, and how the quality of life is for every single person in your city is really representative of what you're doing as a government. So we're looking to solve the issues that are going on in regards to things like housing insecurity, like I was saying, and food insecurity, and ensuring that we have education for all, and employment for all, and things like that. But to even go beyond what has been done in a lot of places, because many places all over the nation, all over the world, have already solved things like housing insecurity and homelessness, and not having healthcare and not having food. There's so many people that have already done that. That this is a thing that can be done. If you're interested in doing it, it can be done. It's already been done all over the nation, all over the world. But we're looking to take Camden above that, above even just solving the basic needs, of things, which of course has to be done first, because we're talking about extending quality of life of everyone here, and doing these improvements. So we can't have anyone that is on the street or not having food or anything like that, because solving those basic needs is really extending their quality of life right away. But there's so much more that we can do beyond that. We can look to upgrade our city. Again, there's things that we're facing in regard to climate change, and things like that. And there are ways that we can put things in to protect against flooding, protect against fire, protect against any kind of thing that we can think of. And these technologies can be developed out of our Center for Scientific Solutions. And there's people all over the world that want to come and help and do this. Often the time is that as an activist or as someone working on these things, you're spending so much time trying to get a hold of the politicians and trying to get them to see what you're talking about and try to get in. And it's just that after that. But if we start to actually get the politicians in that are the activists and the scientists and things like that, then we can really, there are people that want to do this all over, so not just getting people housing, but making sure that their housing won't light on fire, making sure that their housing, if there's a hurricane, it won't blow away because of the shape. There's things like the shape of how you do the building so that they're disaster resistant, the materials that you use so they're disaster resistant. There's things like more and more inventions in regards to our transportation, in regards to our roadways, and how they can be made out of new technologies that don't have anything to even do with asphalt anymore, and holes and having to patch them and having to plow them and having to salt them and having ice and snow. There's ones where you can put these roads in and they'll melt the ice and snow immediately as soon as it touches it. And that's it. It eliminates everything I just listed off, and helps with accidents. It helps with new fresh, the water can go and be routed so that that's used for more clean water for people. And bringing everything that we do up to the top quality. So for instance, in regard to water, we want the top quality water. There's not that much of a difference between having water that's maybe has a whole lot of chlorine and things that are actually not that great for the human body, right. And having the top quality of water in the world. So you can choose to do that and to bring that up. Doing things like making sure not that it's not just the city water that's done, but that each of the houses also, the East Coast is very known for having lead pipes, and things like that, in all the houses, in the schools and the buildings, making sure all of those are taken care of. And then things in regard to our health, firstly, of course, we want to make sure that everybody, again, if you don't have a house, if you don't have access to clean water and nutritious food, that's very unhealthy. But there's things even beyond that we can do to keep working on to bring our people to the highest quality of life possible. In other words, if we know what is the top medicines to avoid for persons going through these sicknesses and deaths, unnecessarily, and getting that out to everyone. So, basically the Center for Scientific Solutions is going to be a center where everyone that's interested in the betterment and quality of people's life, in whether it be in technology, like we said, or biology, or any of the fields that we need to improve in, can come and just continuously work on improving. Yep. Because there's really not any type of final frontier or end point when it comes to the quality of life that you can bring to your people in the city. You can continue to always improve it. And so that would be an area where we would just Okay, good. No one's homeless anymore. Okay, great. Okay, great. We got our, oh, now everybody's stuff is disaster proof. Okay, all right. Well, we have worked this out so everybody has health care if we want it, but now we worked it out that we have medicine for, cancer or seizures or this, and it just also. We want to put in an alert system for our city, which is like a type of some people have seen like alert systems when it comes to like now they have them for disaster warnings,
Right.
Or Amber Alerts and things like that. But ours, we want full communication with everybody in our city. One of the things that happens a lot of times when it comes to governance is that a lot of times people feel like they can't get in touch with their government. They don't, they're set above them and they're trying to reach them and they can't. So we want to do completely the opposite, of that. And what we want to have is a system where people can be notified of everything that is coming out. So if it's obviously we would warn about if there was a storm or an Amber Alert too. But what I'm talking about is I'm talking about the progresses that are coming out. So if we have a new drug or something like that available to the persons that we're going to have out, immediately they know about it. If we have a new technology, immediately they know about it. If there's a grant or a job or this or anything, and of course you can always set your alerts if you don't want to receive like a certain alert or something like that too. You'll be able to do that, but to get that out to them, and then on the other end of that, put in ways for them to reach us, because we can be working on different issues and there might be an issue that we haven't worked on yet that needs to be brought to our attention. Maybe it's like considered a smaller issue or something because it only affects a smaller group of people than this big issue, but we still want to know about it because we want to work on all of it. So we just want an ever evolving communication between us and our people so that we can just work on problem solving, because that's what we're here for.
No, it's very exciting, and I like, as you were saying earlier, that you have the frame there already. You have, as you were saying, Rutgers and Rowan. You have the Coriel. You have so it's not like there's nothing there. You have some of the stuff to work, and I think that's really exciting because you have this what I'll call the for all categories: education, housing, health, life extension, and the food security. And we've actually talked about food security on a previous show with Christopher Kennedy of the Kennedy Foundation, and Camden, happened to be one, major hub of food insecurity, but the fact that it's the Garden State, with a little technology and a little scientific solutions, you can do a lot there, and that's exciting. Obviously one part of another part of what you're doing, you talk about new city revenue sources, and just from my personal experience, I didn't spend a lot of time in Camden in the past, but the last couple of years I spend a lot of money there. I go to the aquarium and I spend money. I go to baseball games, spend time on the battleship. I haven't been to any concerts, but nonetheless, you build up this beautiful waterfront, revenue sources coming in. Talk about a little bit more about some of the other ideas for new city revenue streams.
Well, there's a lot of different things that I've been working on. Some fall under categories, of grants and just working with expanding. We have already a grants management city department, and just helping this grants management department that is here, expanding them to really make sure that we work with them to access every single grant that we're possibly available for, and there's a lot I think that has been missed, that we are eligible for, just because you need help. The people here, if it's nothing against them or nothing that they're not doing anything there. It's just that we want to take what people are already doing and expand it. So I've been speaking with a lot of different federal grant writers, affordable housing persons. Housing is one of my biggest ones that I want to take care of right away, because just every day that someone is on the street, you know, there is a chance of them unnecessarily being sick or dying, you know, and it's just the stress that's involved, even if you aren't even homeless, but just with insecurity of housing, and you don't know if you're going to get kicked out or your electricity is going to get cut off, you know, all of that is a big thing. So I've been working a lot on that to make sure that we can wrap that up as soon as possible and make sure that every single one of our people has a house that's clean and safe and has you know, proper utilities in it. So there's a lot of things that I think that that they don't even know about yet, just because people need more help. Like we need more help to the grant writing department, you know, and things like that. So you know, that was one of them. One that is a decently, I guess, new idea, I would say. I actually just saw an article about it today, which was the first article that I had seen about it. But because my husband and I have been working in real estate for these couple of years, we're interested in retaining our homes. So typically, a lot of homes here are sold off rather inexpensively, either to investors at sales, you know, or things like that. And we're interested in retaining the city homes and also acquiring homes that are for sale, because we have a lot of different programs that we would like to do in regards to that. And oftentimes these homes are sold off very inexpensively, maybe $500, $2,000, you know, and yeah, they get the little batch of money then, and you get taxes because, you know, you get taxes for any, you know, person that purchased it if they're paying it. But you know, we're interested in retaining them and renovating them, and keeping them on this for the city as assets to build up our assets. And so that, you know, the difference between what the house would be worth if you were able to work on it, even if you sold it afterwards, is a tremendous difference versus what they're getting sold for now. And a lot of times I think maybe people not being in real estate and things like that, even when they look at things with contractors and, you know, estimates and things like that, some of these estimates can be really, really inflated, you know, but you know, now it's not as much to repair them, you know, a lot of times as it is. And then there's a number of different things that can happen that way, because if we sell off all of our houses to investors, not that it's nothing against investors, of course, you know, we love investors and come help and things like that, but it can wind up getting the city gentrified. And we don't want that to happen. Many of the people that live in Camden have lived here their whole life, generation after generation, or have lived here a very long time, you know, and have lived through the ups and downs that you mentioned earlier on, you know, financial things and different things in regard to crime and stuff like that. So now if all of a sudden people are starting to notice Camden, you know, and they want to come from a different state or do something like that and gobble up all of the housing, then that's not really going to do anything for the city's books when it comes to assets and things like that. And we already have, you know, have some properties that are on the books where the city rents it to people and things like that. So we're looking to expand that as much as we can, because we also want to give our people the chance to be the investors. We want the people that live here to have many paths to be able to become the homeowners. You know, people think you always have to go through a bank or something like that. You can do rent to own, you can do seller financing, where it gives people more opportunities. There's grants, there's so many grants to help people get houses. There's grants for replacing the utilities, like the lead pipes, like the knob and tube electric, things like that. So and then also having passed where if the people want to become investors themselves, maybe, I mean, obviously your primary home is an investment too, but if they want to perhaps become landlords, like not everyone does, but if they want to, we want to have those passed on, because we want the people that live here to become the shareholders of Camden, basically. I'm using the term shareholders, but to become the investors and things like that for the city, so that it's not just stripped away for them, because we want the people that live here, every single person that's interested, to have the highest quality of life possible, period, in every way. So if we are sitting here and just selling everything off and not giving our people the opportunity to do that themselves, then that's very limiting. So that's one of the things that we want to do in regards to that. Some of the other things are would be coming out of the Center for Scientific Solutions, because it would be with the new technologies that we would be developing out of there, that we would be able to sell, and create revenue streams that way, by having so many scientists and researchers and business owners and interested persons that are in there developing this tech. We would be able to not only just develop tech that we have seen, but to be working on completely new technologies. And some other things too, in regards to, we're looking to do vertical farming for a number of reasons. I think you might have heard of Arrow Farms up in Newark. But something along those lines, not only just to end our food insecurity and be able to make sure that people are having nutritious organic foods, but also have it protected from the elements, because there's a lot of great things that you can do and that we're interested in regards to people being able to grow their own food on their own lots, and things like that, and having maybe like a community type orchard and fruit trees. We're interested in all that too, but there are extreme winters in New Jersey, where you're not able to really grow anything outside. There's also, storms and things like that. So we do want to have a protected area where we can grow these foods, and also be able to sell it nearby. Which is what basically what Arrow Farms does, is sell it to all the local areas and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different possibilities for revenue sources that can come in.
Excellent, really exciting.
Yeah, and also expanding our small businesses and things like that too. Yeah,
absolutely. Jennifer, I watched an interview you did last week, and in that you sort of you're talking about some of the sort of the dynamics of sort of the election, in the sense that you have the 73,000 or so people, but only a certain percent of them ever vote. Talk a little bit about sort of those little details, some interesting facts on those fronts, and then talk about your day. I mean, I know you've been out campaigning, and I appreciate you're talking at night with me. You have a long day. What's your day like? I mean, hey, I'm Jennifer. I'm running for mayor. Like, what are you doing as you're out there on the day, on every typical day?
Yeah, when I was looking at, me and my husband were looking at if we wanted to try this path, firstly, we had to look into the feasibility of it. We are not multimillionaires. We're regular people, and we spend all our free time, which is limited on activism, which doesn't ever pay you anything, but so we had to really look into, is this some kind of thing, where say for example, I mean, you're over in Philadelphia, and I think you guys' population over there is like 2.4 million or something. It's like very
It's a lot. I
high.
haven't looked at it lately, but yeah.
You know, and you know, versus a city that has a population of about, I think it's about 77,000 roughly now. Yeah, 70,
I think I was looking at old data, but yeah, again.
Yeah. And you know, so oftentimes if it's in a bigger city where you're running, there's so much marketing that's involved. You know, you have to pay for TV spots and, you know, things, and the cost can get really out of control. And so one thing that we didn't want to do was have to try to bother anybody in the city for any type of donations or things like that, because everybody here has been through enough. It's obviously, if somebody from the city wants to help, yes, please, it will help. You know, but we didn't want to be so pushy about that. So we were looking at it from a perspective of what if we have to do this ourselves, you know, so especially running independent, you know, so we looked into it, and again, I really looked mostly at like the last 6 elections, because that's covering, you know, like 24 years right there. So just to see, normally what happens is it seems like about 3 people usually run on the Democratic Party. Like I mentioned, this year it's 5, and about 1,500 people usually turn out to the primary to vote. That's about the average. But primaries in general, usually less people turn out to the primary than the general, typically, period, across the board. But so about 1,500 people usually turn out to the primaries. And then for the generals, usually it's about 7,000 people.
Wow.
So, you know, and obviously out of 77,000 people, some of them are kids.
Sure.
And some of them are ineligible to vote for whatever, reasons. But yeah, so it was a manageable number that we felt that we could be able to reach that amount of people, or close to that amount of people, as an independent. You know, even just, I mean, I'm door knocking. I'm just door knocking everybody. That's it. You know, I'm going to one day I'm going to businesses, one day I'm going to houses, you know, and you know, or a combination of both, depending on what area I'm in. And, you know, I have flyers that I printed up. They're a little pamphlet here, you know, and I have also door hangers. So, you know, if someone's home, I talk to them. If they're not, I leave a door hanger. And, you know, the door hanger has not as much information as the flyer, but, you know, the bullet points of everything. And, you know, we have the website for people to go to read more in depth about what we're doing. And I have a lot of contact information there. I have my phone, I have emails, I respond. I do have people helping me respond on some of the social media, but the phone and the email is completely me. But even on the social media, if someone else responds first, I still come back later and respond. So, you know, you can reach me, because
I can vouch for that. You got back to me in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So, you know, and that's something that I want to do in the campaign, because I want to carry that over into the position too, is to be accessible. You know, I want everybody to be able to, you know, have a meeting with me. If they want, you know, obviously you have to schedule it, because, you know, there could be scheduling overlaps if someone was just always walking in or something like that. But we want as many social media ways to reach us, phone numbers to reach us, emails to reach us, as possible, because I've seen, you know, so many times where people, you know, they have grants available, or they already got the grant, You know, it's not even like the city has to, you know, do anything to do the grant. They're just trying to let people know they have the grant to get slots filled or something like that, and like can't get in touch with anybody, and that, like, that, it's crazy. You know, you have to just open that up. It's just we have to change the way that we're governing things. You know, and we have to change the way that the people in these offices feel about the office, because we really have to take this, and I'm not saying that against anyone in particular, I'm just saying that in general, that we really have to become more open and communicative with our people, because that what else are you doing? You know, what else are you doing if you're not doing that? So my day is a combination of working on houses, and my wonderful husband has taken on the brunt of that, so that I can walk around and knock, you know, and I usually
good husband.
He is amazing. I think that if we could just clone him maybe for people, then that'll solve all of our problems. But you know, and so you know, consists of just, again, like I said, I'm just out door knocking, and I want to do it. I do have people that are helping me more and more to spread information around for me, and things like that that are, you know, have seen my platform and like it and supporting and are helping me do that. But for the most part, I want to meet as many people as possible, because we're always so busy. You know, we work and work and work and try to like open our eyes, work all day till we go to sleep for the most part. We don't really take that many breaks or anything. So, you know, we're not out a lot socializing or doing things. So this gives me a really good opportunity to meet everyone, you know, and I want to meet everyone, because I want them to feel like they're going to be able to know their mayor, and they're going to be able to talk to their mayor, and to see, you know, and I've had people that already are like, you're the only candidate that's ever come to House ever, like, you know, in anything. You know, and so it gives me that really good opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with them, and to let them know that they can always reach out to me if they have whatever they want to talk about. If they want to talk about my platform or me, or they want to talk about an issue that they have that I didn't even list, you know, on the website or something like that, or whatever. So yeah, and it's about 22,000 households, you know, for that 77,000 people. So really my day for the rest of the campaign is just going to be, at first we have to collect signatures to turn in, to be allowed to run in the general. So we have to get the amount of signatures. So I've been spending it doing that. But we're pretty good. We're getting there. I think we should probably, hopefully, be finished with that pretty soon, because we're doing pretty good on that front already. You know, then after that, it's really just going to be the same thing. I'm just going to be introducing myself. I'm just not asking for signatures anymore, because once I have the signature amount, I need, you know, I don't need the signature, but just still with, you know, the flyer and speaking to anyone. And I'm really just going to try to go to as many individual houses and businesses as I can, just every single, like up until the very day that you know, that we're voting on people. And then so it just it depends, you know. And then if I have interviews or if I have different meetings, there's a lot of things that I'm in, that I go to different seminars and forums and things on, you know, new cities designs and new ways of governance and things like that. So depending when I have those meetings or forums, you know, or if I have interviews or you know, endorsement interviews or other interviews or things like that, I'll schedule those in, you know, and then kind of put my day around that. I stop knocking on doors by the time it gets dark. I go down daylight hours so I can see everything and
Makes
all.
sense.
But yeah, and then so usually and when I get home and I try, in between I'll try to check if there's any phone calls or emails or stuff like that. Sometimes if I don't have time to do that, then when I get home, I check everything and then I respond. And if it's too late, I'll just respond the following day in the morning and then go out after I respond to everybody.
Very, very exciting. I don't have the
Yeah.
energy for it, but I'm rooting you on. I mean, it's very exciting. It's grassroots combined with future looking innovation.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. Jennifer, any last things you want to say? I mean, you have a website. Anything else you want to plug while I have you? Please take the floor.
I guess just a little bit more about what you were saying before too. Just one thing I think, because of the way that the elections have always gone, and not having really any type of opponent to the selection that goes at the primary, is there's not a lot of advertising. I don't think that there's not really a whole lot of it, because it's just, you run and whoever gets it, and then, kind of that's it. So we are trying to do, again, my campaign manager said we're basically running a zero budget campaign, because it's just, all right, let's order some flyers. What we could afford that we could order some door hangers and things. But, hopefully now that we're starting to do endorsement interviews and different interviews and things like that, we have been having more people reach out that are interested, in donating and things like that. And, it's very, obviously any donations go a long way, to help any candidate. But here, I'd say it really goes a long way, because it's another batch of door hangers that's going to get through, and hopefully we'll get some banners and signs, and there's been some talk about that and stuff too. So that'd be nice. It goes a long way, basically, to have the marketing materials here, because it's not a place that is typically flooded with marketing materials all the time, and you have a sign from 3 people on every fence, and things like that. So so that's pretty interesting also.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. And just for the people listening or watching, the website's www.jahformayor.com.
Yeah.
I think you have some they can check you out on YouTube also. I think you have a nice new video there. Really, really exciting stuff. We'll put some of these links in the show bio. Once again, for everybody that's going to either be listening on the podcast or watching on the channel, you've been listening to Jennifer Hughes, mayoral candidate for the 2021 election for the city of Camden, New Jersey, doing some really fascinating stuff at the intersections of technology, innovation, public housing, really, working to recreate and renovate a beautiful city that has been on a downward curve, but I think is coming back. And I think Jennifer, what you have is really exciting there, and really wishing you the best with all of this. I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show. You've had a busy day, I know that. I want to thank you for what you're doing, and as we say on this show, thank you for helping to create a better tomorrow through what you're doing, obviously for all the people at Camden, but for this model that you're creating for
I know you're always working on trying to create a better tomorrow too, so thank you for everything that you do too.
Absolutely.